Hi, folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. Every now and then, you gotta do something that the wife wants you to do. She loves plants. As of this morning, an official house count of house plants in our house: 110 potted plants. 110. I can't complain because she supports me in everything I do and all my little hobbies and endeavors, because I can't just do one of anything myself either. So anyway, we're going to show you an awesome little way to make a plant stand. Really simple, no sanding required. You can do this with minimal hand tools, hand cut tools, whatever. The nice thing about this, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. Actually, the more rustic, the better. And because we're going to use an old ladder, the old wooden ladders that are laying around these farm places and stuff, scoop them up, make something out of them. And it actually turns out quite nice. I'm not going to show you the product in the beginning. You'll probably see it in the thumbnail though. But after we're all said and done here, you'll go, oh, I need to make one of those for my wife and earn some brownie points. Do I get any brownie points?
You do.
Little camera shy, just a little. All right, let's get busy, and we're gonna drag some tools out of the lower garage. I don't have a wood shop set up. I got all my tools kind of shoved away, and I pull them out as I need them. So that's what we're gonna do. Get it all drug out here, get all the sawdust out here, and then clean it with a leaf blower. But we're gonna build a one, maybe two, make some patterns. We're gonna do something here, but follow along. It's gonna be fun. All right, it took us about 10 minutes here to gather up all the stuff. Not very long setup, obviously. Here's an old ladder. Now this ladder, as you can see, it twists. You wouldn't want to stand on these rungs. I mean, they're still solid, but you wouldn't want to stand on them. That's perfect. That's the perfect candidate. It's old and rustic looking, and we're going to maintain the rustic look of the ladder while putting something else around it that we can make very, very useful. And it also looks very nice and very decorative. The other thing we're doing here, I'm telling you, these boards here, guys, I didn't go to the hardware store and get these boards. These boards came from a pallet. Every now and then you find things that are shipped in, and they come in on pallets. And sometimes that pallet wood is useful. And all this wood here all came from a pallet. So we're going to recycle and reuse all this otherwise would have been probably chipped up, thrown away wood. So we're going to use that. So we're going to start off first thing. I want this shelf set up here to be about 7. Jack, you need to shut your mouth. You shut your mouth, dog. So we want this particular ladder to be 7 feet tall. Nope. Yeah, 72 inches, 6 feet tall. We want this to be 6 feet tall. 72, carry the 1. Divide by pi. Yeah. 72 inches tall. And we want it to also have an angle to it. So it's going to come away from the wall. So you can park this thing up against the wall, have it come away from the wall, and be no more than 18 inches from the wall at the bottom. So the shelves are going to get narrow as they go up. You'll get the general idea as we move along. So the first thing I do is figure out what angle it needs to be at to be 18 inches from the wall at the bottom. And that's really easy to do. Well, the first thing I do is cut the ladder and get the ladder established. And then I build everything off of that. So I know I want the ladder front face to be 72 inches long. I'm cutting it at 74 right now. That way I can get now what I want to do is stand this up against the wall. Okay, let me catch you up on what I've done now. I've got this set up. I want this to be 18 inches away from the wall at the bottom. That's kind of a loose measurement we decided we like. looks good in the house type of situation, that type of thing. So what I've done is I've laid this out just like this. And then what I've done is, since the boards aren't cut exactly perfectly the way I want them yet, I have taken a square here, a speed square, and made sure I'm sitting square here, because these things can be loose and they're not exactly square to the world. So I'm kind of squaring it up and making a good job of it as I go. So I squared it up here and also squared it up in here. Now, you might find that you have a gap and a gap when you do this, and when you're squared up. And that's fine, because at least it's uniform. What I've done here is I put a little bit of a shim underneath here to kind of pull this up while this is still sitting on the ground. Now I want to cut this angle. And in order to lay out this angle, I just took a couple of 1-bys and did like this. And then I want to take my Sawzall again and cut it off to that angle, because I'm going to mount this down to a platform. And then I'm going to put casters under it, because that'll make it movable. Now that I have that scribed out square, let's go ahead and saw it now. Now what I'm getting ready to do, you guys can call cheating or whatever you want to call it, but I'm calling it making it easy. So I've got the ladder reestablished at the distance and everything I want to have it at. I want to now just bottoms on the bottom where I want it, and I'm just gonna draw me a line. This is as easy as it gets, guys. It don't get any easier than this. Now you can build this in the privacy of your own shop and surprise your wife with it later. And what my wife likes to do is, after I get done with it, everything that's not ladder is going to be painted flat black or a satin black. Flat black works really well, because what's really cool is once this shelf is established with shelves on here, the ladder stands out. The shelves and this other wood pieces are all flat black, and they hide themselves, because nothing really stands out with flat black. It kind of hides. You put some plants or knickknacks on the shelves, and next thing you know, all you see is this old rustic ladder and knickknacks, and you don't see the black framework around it. And that's why I say you don't have to spend a lot of time sanding. I'm putting keep on here to make sure I cut on the right side of the line. You don't have to spend a lot of time sanding, finishing on this thing. It's rustic. That's the beauty of it. When it comes to woodworking, you don't have to be a perfectionist when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's really simple. So let's keep it simple, right? Why not? Now in this case, I left the hardware up top. No hardware on the bottom. Some of this ladders have hardware and stuff. Leave the hardware on it. Adds to the mystique and the patina and all the other kind of fancy antique words that people like to use when they're messing around with this type of thing. So now I've got a line here, and I'm going to do something that's probably difficult for a lot of people to do. You can actually take a circular handsaw and just cut right through there. I'm going to use my table saw because I have it out, and I'm already going to be doing other table saw things. So I can actually use this like a bandsaw, my table saw like a bandsaw, and just cut this bad boy right down this angle. And then I need 2 of them, 1 for each side. So that's this is probably, I would call it, let's call it almost the most complex part, but really not. This is established. This will help hold it established. And I'll show you how I'll fasten it together so that you don't have all these screws exposed. All right, this is the board we marked out just moments ago. This is the most dangerous part, and I don't recommend anybody else doing it this way. I would recommend a handsaw, but I've got this out, so this is what I'm using. Not to mention, this is kind of hard to eyeball and do, because you're not using a rib fence and you're freehanding. Nice thing is once you've got one done, the second one's just your pattern. So you can actually make things pretty much exactly the same. Use this one as a pattern because I've already got two cut for this one, but I'm planning on making more than one. So we're going to go ahead and lay out a third piece. So when I go to make the next one, because you know what's going to happen. Your wife's going to ow, that didn't hurt at all. Ow, that didn't hurt either. Your wife's going to show her friends. And her friends are going to be jealous. And they're going to go, would your husband make me one? You might as well get ahead of the game now.
3 people have already asked me.
3 people have already asked her. See, there you go. So right here what I have was leftover king starboard. This is probably the most expensive per square inch piece of material we could have used for this. But it was left over from when I put my floor in my boat over 3 years ago, and I still have a 4x8 sheet of it, and look how clean that is. Garbage can, there it is. We cut this. You can use leftover piece of plywood, 4.5 inch thick would be preferable. I cut this 18 by 19. The ladder itself is 19 inches wide. So you want to make sure you put this on the right way when you start putting it together. So this is the width of the ladder here. So I'm going to go ahead and stand that up just like this. And then we'll take this guy here, my lovely assistant to help stabilize in life here. We'll stand this up, and we're just butting up corners. That's what we're going to do with this. And I'm going to use my table saw as a guide to kind of make sure I'm putting this together sort of kind of square. Take that in and go out that way. Out. There you go. Something like that. And actually, since this is plastic, I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill it before I put my wood screws in it. But I'm just using 3-inch deck screws going straight in from the bottom into this. I'll put like 3 of them in it. Locks it down pretty good. So I pre-drilled it. Now we're going to line it up best we can by hand here and send it home. Now that you got this done, it's ladder time. What time is it? Ladder time. You can't touch this, ladder time. Okay, see how it's coming along now? Now what I'll do is I'll drill 1 screw down here. 1's all it takes on this end. We're not talking this thing's got to have a lot of strength, but that 3-inch screw is going to have a lot of strength. I'm going to put 1 in here so it comes in and doesn't break out the front. So we'll kind of hold it up here and hold it and kind of eyeball a nice angle here. Now, as you can see, this came out a little long up top here, but that's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do now is pilot drill, and you can put 1 or 2. I think I'm going to put 2 in here just to stabilize things. 1 lets it pivot. 2 kind of locks it in. This is my kind of carpentry here, cut to fit. So now I can just slop this off right here. Now I'll set this up. I'm going to cut me quite a few 1¼ wide strips. Just rip cut those. Get my little pusher out here. And these are going to be some shelf supports. So I don't know how many I'm going to need. I'm just going to cut a bunch of them for multiple shelves like this. Okay, so what I've done here is I've set my protractor angle, or protractor here, so that the level bubble is level when it's up against the ladder here. And I can draw a straight line back here to the top rung here. So when I put my wood in here, it'll come out flush with the top rung. And I'll go 1 board width thickness below it to put my little shelf supports on it. And then I can just staple the wood piece right on top. So that's all this line represents. You'll see more in a minute here. Now you can use this, you can use pieces of plywood for this, you can use pieces of 1x like I'm doing, whatever you can find handy, it really doesn't matter. As long as you do the thickness here, so it comes out flush with the top. It doesn't even have to come out flush with the top. You can have this below if you wanted, because the front part's going to be painted black, you won't even see it, and you'll have the lip here if you wanted a lip for, say if this was a shelf and you don't want things to come off of it. So what I did here is I took the 1x here, and the lines I laid out earlier, we hold that to the line, then I hold this part up underneath, I go pop, 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 put a couple of long brads in it, and you got your shelf support there. And I did put a little bit of glue behind here, and if you want to, this all just adds a little bit of strength. I'm not trying to glue this thing crazily. We'll just add a little more glue. And I put a whole board here, just like you see here. And you can put it whichever way you want, knots up, knots down, personal preference. And then second one there. Now I rip cut this one. I marked it and I rip cut it so that it fit in here flush to the back. And then make it permanent. And what's really cool about this, your gaps here don't have to be perfect, because once you paint this flat black and this flat black, that black line you see right there disappears completely, especially if you just got plants hanging all over it or whatever knickknacks you're putting on it. So we're going to go ahead and do that for the rest of these shelves all the way down, and we'll show you the finished thing as the shelves are on it, and then we'll show you it later on after it's all painted. Well now folks, what we have here is the almost completed project. As you can see here, we've got the boards all laid in there. There again, all this was made out of, except for the very base at starboard. The rest of it is made out of scrap pallet wood from different pallets from different things. When this is all painted, it will look spectacular. I'll give you a shot of it painted and in place and what it looks like when it is complete. As you can see, once this is painted black, it doesn't seem like it, but the boards will practically disappear. The ladder will shine through, and the objects on it will be, you know, just showing off what they are, whether it's knickknacks or plants or whatever my wife is deciding to do with it. And we will be putting casters on the bottom. We like to have casters on stuff like this because when you rearrange the furniture, it makes it a whole lot easier when everything is on wheels. All right, here's the final product. Set up in the living room. My wife's already got it painted and got all of our little plants all over it. Turned out pretty well. Here's the other one we built, the first one we built. Same thing. As you can see, the ladder kind of stands out. And in the setting here, the black just kind of hides itself. Let the ladder take front stage. Turned out pretty good, I feel. Well, folks, I hope you found that informative and helpful. The project turned out very nice. My wife did an excellent job of painting it, and there again, you don't have to get really crazy painting it. Just slather the paint on there, keep it off the ladder, and the ladder just pops in front when it's all said and done. Now, that's a very jungle setting. I always tease her about the house as a terrarium more than it is, you know, a place for us to hang out. But, you know, the plants make it homey. So you guys get out there and have some fun. Enjoy life every day as much as possible. And as I always say, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. Like and subscribe. And follow some links in the description below to find some of the products that I used in the video. Find the links to those to go get your own stuff. This is Michael, and I'm out.